50 out, jumping and shooting. He gets one more kill. Looking for it. He's got him hunted down. Time is up. Oh my God! Garrett, are you going to be kidding me? He gets the last kill in 1 second left.
Mouse's buy is going to be torn away from them very, very quickly by Titan.
Oh my God! Nico gets 3, 4! Oh my lungs! I don't believe it!
It's also flashed off Eagle. Works though. Limited vision, limited weapons. Doesn't even matter, dude. Craig! This is so smart. Oh, this is huge. Doji's throwing a nade into the corner just as the bomb's gonna go off. They're both gonna go down. Get brained on. Doja with the dunk. That's so smart.
Odyssey on catwalk finds the timing. 8 seconds if he can drop the bomb, it'd be everything. But it travels into the site. 1-on-2 from Odyssey now.
It's sacrificial. Gives his position away. He wants Odyssey. There you go. The Shepherd staff takes down the GOAT.
Patience game coming out. He can spot them coming out of Squeak Door as well. He's here. He sees them down there. Straight headshot. They have no idea. Smith's looking confused and dazed, and there's going to be a follow-up headshot on Meister.
Here he comes once again. The first base is a Dren. He's going to hit the ground there as Cold. Oh, what a jumping double from Cold! What is going on right now? How does he do this?
Look at the front, there's 7 seconds to throw the bomb. They're trying to jump pyramid, but there's no more play. Stewie for the round. We go to overtime.
Talbot has done it! How have they done that?
Rotation, Oscar's gone. Chris isn't. Ops still in the picture. Ops still very much in the round. Oh, Chris! He's down 3. It's down to a 2-on-2. Chris, can he close this with an ace? Oh my God!
There's no way. There's no way, Katie. You can't win Pro League like this. You can't win Pro League like this. Okay, so before we continue pouring one out for CSGO, you guys gotta understand that this is the biggest video we've ever undertaken, and it would not have been possible without our partners over at Be Quiet. Be Quiet makes some of the beacon with the link. Now let's get into the video.
1v1. Kelly against Pasha, the 2 players who've stepped up phenomenally for their side.
Our first moment is more than just a play. It's a bullet that sent shockwaves through the entire CSGO community. At ESL One Cologne 2014, Callie and Pasha were in a 1v1 on site with the map on the line. Callie needed the perfect shot, and defying all odds, he found it.
1v1. Kelly against Pasha, the 2 players who've stepped up phenomenally for their side.
I can't believe what I'm witnessing right here.
Oh,
Wow.
Kelly!
Get out of here. Get
Can you
out of
believe
here.
it? To secure the final kill
Wow.
in that round.
Oh, no.
This was far from a normal shot. It was high risk, high reward, and it won the map for Callie and helped LDLC finish top 4 at the major. But less than 3 months later, Callie was VAC banned, and the impact of that ban and that shot would reverberate for years.
He was on my right, he got that ban, and I think I was the first one to be kinda realistic, like, are you cheating or not? I took a step back directly and I wanted to know the truth, like, as soon as possible, because I realized it's gonna be big. Everyone gonna know it in 5 minutes, so it was something crazy.
Callie Vagban? No.
What? I'm going to check one.
Seriously?
And while he was the most prominent and maybe the only one on a truly tier 1 team, Callie wasn't alone. A wave of bans sent shockwaves through the whole scene, but especially in France. Titan, Callie's new team, was disqualified because of his actions, while Epsilon, the third but distant horse in the French race, also missed out due to the actions of SF. No one knew for sure how long Callie had been cheating. He claimed that he had only been using cheats for a week and that the ban was justified.
I feel there is some tournaments where he didn't cheat, but I am sure he cheated in some tournaments also because, I could see it in his eyes, when we asked him, are you cheating or not, he was not precise. So, of course, he cheated in some tournaments, but I don't think he cheated all the time.
And so the community returned to that play. It felt like maybe the evidence was there all along. Maybe we should have known. A video that 3Clicks Philip made at the time estimated that Callie had about a 14% chance to actually hit that headshot.
In this video, I will repeat the same shot 100 times to see how likely it was to have hit. I made it 14 head and 12 shots hitting elsewhere.
In some ways, though, the uncertainty about that clip isn't the real question that haunts the CS community. It goes deeper than that.
This is most shit and scary movie ever I watch.
What could Titan have become with Cali? What would have happened at DreamHack Winter had Titan attended? And let's not forget VP, who were eliminated from Cologne that year as a result. And what about Scream, who lost his spot on Titan to Cali? How different might the Headshot Machine's career have been if he found himself in a better position after the French shuffle?
All my friends, my French friends, they were like talking about like Cali's cheating, I'm sure. But I was like, no, he's playing online. What the f? He was playing with Titan. What the f? He took my f***ing place.
Singapore-based Titan even cited that monumental event as part of the reason they shut down in 2016. Ultimately, Cali's career was over.
I just would like to understand why he did that, but we don't know if he cheated in tournaments with us or not. You know, I would like to know the details, but he never told that, so he kept it for himself.
But this shot, and the ban that followed, was a formative moment for the early CSGO community, and one that's still debated today.
No, bro, the jump shot was legit. There you have it. I believe him. He has, like, why would he lie?
And whether we ever get a real answer or not, we had no choice but to move forward into the reality left over after the smoke cleared.
It'll be desperately hard to hold on to. Device around the world we go, but the defuse is coming in. He's still going. Oh!
Sometimes a play is more than just a clip or a highlight. Sometimes it's a canon event.
The burning defuse is in the very DNA of CSGO. Like, whatever you think of the play itself, it has taken on a mythological status like nothing else. I think it's fair to say that it's the first play in CSGO that became famous for being famous, if that makes sense.
Cologne 2014, semifinals. Fnatic are one map away from securing their place in the grand finals of CSGO's third ever major.
This is a high pressure game, and I think we are now seconds away from getting underway into the second map here. Fnatic up against Team Dignitas.
Unfortunately, they got off to a very rocky start. Round after round, Fnatic floundered, unable to close.
Overpass so far. I don't think we know anything towards the outcome. I don't want to write out Fnatic just yet, but I'm not sure yet. I'm really not sure, because they just seem to be kind of struggling to make that final bit of impact.
With only 4 T rounds to their name and a very costly loss on CT Pistol, the Swedish powerhouse had to come up huge on this side switch.
Dignitas have themselves the pistol round. If they convert, Fnatic are in all sorts of trouble.
Dire straits here for Fnatic. They were waiting as Fetish now a little more cautious. Pronax finds dupreeh. The CZs, they're in action. Xyp9x edging closer. He's going to check the corner, but flusha finds him, and there's a glimmer of hope. And I mean a small, small glimmer.
Slowly but surely, Fnatic chipped away at Dignitas' seemingly insurmountable lead until somehow they'd evened the score.
My God, 14-14, nerves, pressure, everything is now on the line for both of these sides. Fnatic won this done and dusted. They got the first map. They won this over with. Dignitas are fighting for everything now.
In a must-win round for Dignitas, they took B-site, got bomb down, and set up for the post plan. Despite losing 2 players in the process, their strategy was working. The only thing they didn't account for was Olofmeister.
Pronax finds Xyp9x, not the best of starts. flusha gets dupreeh. Bomb is going down. Device still kicking as Fetish waits and finds himself a little bit of smoke to hide in, but it's a 2v4, and it's going to be desperately hard to hold on to. Device around the world we go, but the defuse is coming in. He's still going. Oh, Olof just about gets it as the flames come in, and look at the little dance of happiness. That is how to control your nerves in a situation. Dance it out, but my God.
Small moments win Counter-Strike matches, and that was a millisecond away from being the difference between defuse or death.
I mean, it was a silly play, right? And Fnatic probably still would have won even if Olof hadn't have gone for the hero defuse. But that's not really the point, right? Like, the point is the stakes, the ballsiness of it. The fact that he died a millisecond after defusing. The fact that he shattered the hopes and dreams of Dignitas and still had the gall to do his little dancey dance.
As the flames come in, and look at the little dance of happiness.
Amidst those flames, Olofmeister ascended into the annals of CSGO history, and, more importantly, paved the way for those who followed.
I don't know what we call that now, but what about the Olofmeister ninja burning defuse?
Yeah, that was so sick. It was like, I have no words. It was amazing.
The burning defuse led to the first graffiti ever put into Global Offensive. In many ways, it marked the beginning of CSGO esports as we know it.
Look, by today's standards, it may not look like much, all right? Like the guy, he held E, right? Like I get it. But the thing is, it was special. It was basically the first time that we as a community were all watching the same high-stakes match, saw this crazy thing unfold, and collectively said, holy shit, right? What just happened? It was never about the defuse itself. It was about the way it brought us together, the way it brought the CSGO community together.
Friberg misses, and SDA, he picks it up single-handedly, wins Fnatic. What a play!
2014, Cologne. For the third consecutive major, CSGO's first super team, Ninjas in Pajamas, are in the grand finals. And for the third consecutive time, it looks like they're gonna lose.
Time is also running out here for NIP. Exist and Friberg should just be running away and try and save these rifles if they can, but Fnatic are hunting them and they definitely should. They have so much money to work with.
Since the very start of CSGO, NIP have been unquestionably the best roster in the world. They have these god-tier 1.6ers who came to Global Offensive and basically just smurfed. They had this 87-0 map streak, the best individual talent on the planet, and more first-place finishes than they know what to do with. And yet, for some insane reason, they cannot, for the life of them, win a major. They lose to the Dark Horse Fnatic at the first CSGO major, and then come Katowice, it just felt destined that they would lose to the home team, the Poles. At some point, it did start to feel like it was just suffocating, right? Like their greatness was just closing in around them, and I think these guys just couldn't get a break.
Despite taking the first map, NIP lost the second and were floundering on the third. Fnatic have them on the ropes, and other than Get Right, no one on NIP is performing.
Pronax hasn't picked up a single kill, but then neither has Friberg. It is still really early in the first half on NIP, in fact, and this is a slightly worrying trend. It's only Get Right who's really done anything. 7, and then everyone else has 1 except for Friberg.
NIP needed a miracle, and with almost everything at stake, Friberg held the line.
Wolfmeister will find the shot on Exist. Friberg does return, picks off Pronax. He's still here, though, and he's going for more. 2 big frags. The third man is here, however, and Friberg has to back off. But Friberg somehow opens it up single-handedly. All 3 frags.
All he has to do is stay alive, and it's going to be great. Oh, he picks up a quad kill. He could do even better than staying alive. He gets the kill. Now he wants that ace, and that would be absolutely brutal. Fnatic, that could really rock them. Friberg comes in. He sprays. Friberg misses. And SDA, he picks it up single-handedly. What a play!
There actually isn't a tremendous amount of skill expression when it comes to how one actually plays Banana, especially back then in the early days of CSGO. But somehow, Friberg became really famous actually for consistently exerting Banana control. The guy was a menace. Like you could know exactly what he was gonna do and still fall prey to it. So come the 7th round, Friberg grabbed his AK, ran towards Banana, and just said, screw it.
Friberg's ace single-handedly brought NIP back into the series. Round after round, they clawed their way back until finally, they were firing on all cylinders.
There is nothing they can do any longer. NIP have won Gamescom 2014. Ladies and gentlemen, 16-13. It finally happens.
2 second-place finishes. NIP finally claimed the title. They are the champions.
Never in the history of CSGO was there a roster that struggled so hard to win the major that they so wholeheartedly deserved. And every time you walked up Banana and saw that sign at the top, Via Adamo, which the devs put in to pay respect to Friberg, you remember that it wasn't actually one of the superstars that got them over the finish line. It was Friberg. It was one of the supporting cast. NIP played 5 consecutive major finals, and they only managed to win 1 of them. And I really believe that if Friberg hadn't put on those theatrics, they might not have got there. The history of CSGO may have looked a lot different if it weren't for the King of Banana.
He sees them down there, straight headshot, they have no idea. Smith's looking confused and dazed, and there's gonna be a follow-up headshot on Wolfmeister.
When a unique approach works well, it's a good strategy. But when it works unreasonably well, we have to ask ourselves the age-old question. Is it cheating?
Do they have a weird boost going on currently? Yes,
Look at this boost.
Oh my god,
this is beautiful.
He can look over to the restrooms as well.
Even before it began, DreamHack Winter 2014 was not the major that people expected. Teams had already been banned from the event beforehand for cheating, and it seemed like the issue went even deeper.
And into that mess steps Fnatic, the absolute kings of LAN at the time, who were also no stranger to controversy. They'd been accused accused of cheating plenty of times, though you could not tell that from the way they were playing against LDLC in this quarterfinal. They were getting rinsed.
So, facing down a potentially decisive pistol round, Fnatic employed a now notorious boost that let them see an immense part of the map that was normally shielded from view.
This is Pronax being a genius. They did warn us that they had been planning something, and it's almost painful to see that it doesn't work out the way they wanted it to.
Though we saw the boost before it was actually used to kill people, the anticipation was palpable, especially since Fnatic were already so far behind.
MBK down on the ramp, and there's the kill. Shox comes in with another one here, and it's going to be a 1-on-2. He just has to defend. It's a one headshot. He needs to pick up a second one, and he's going to get it. Double kill. LDLC, they win the round with that B push.
But in the next round, Fnatic got what they wanted. LDLC's players wandered into Olaf Meister's boosted sightline. All he had was a scout, but that was still way more than he needed.
Patience game coming out. He can spot them coming out of Squeak door as well. He's here. He sees them down there. Straight headshot. They have no idea. Smith's looking confused and dazed, and there's going to be a follow-up headshot on Meister. You've got to be kidding me. Takes down Hiroshima as well. Oh, it finally works, and now Fnatic, if this is the comeback moment for them, this will be absolute history in Counter-Strike. It's Smith's taken down next. JW, the bomb is down, yes, but it's a 5-on-2. Shox trying to keep it alive here for LDLC. And Happy will do a fine job in there, but it is the return. Fnatic, they pick up the round. The boost works.
With one move from Fnatic, a game that appeared completely lost was suddenly wide open for the taking. And the triple boost kept working. LDLC seemingly couldn't see Olaf at all.
They still are not sure. They're just getting fired at. They're going down. Olaf Meister, they have no idea. This is going to be frustration on a whole new level. Pronax taking another kill down here, and it's Happy alone in a 1-on-4, and he's going to fall. JW makes it work.
Firstly, it's one thing to have the boost. They came up with the boost. It's kind of innovative. No one really, obviously knew or executed that previous to that moment. And then Olaf actually hit all of the shots as well, which is, that's another thing entirely. We see a lot of these boosts happening, but also hitting all the shots in those moments is pretty hilarious.
I forgot how many times they used it. I remember it being like 5 or 6 rounds, but the fact they just got so, even on rounds he didn't shoot, the information he was able to get is wild.
Fnatic rode the strategy all the way to the end of the match. Olaf was hyped, the crowd looked stunned, and LDLC looked incredibly pissed.
They pull up an ace out the sleeve, and they do it for just every single round. They're on out flush against the double, and it's down to Smith. No chance at all. Fnatic, they make their way to the semis of another major tournament here. Pronax with a final kill, 16-13.
But it didn't stop there.
I mean, I feel sorry for the LDLC guys because they played an amazing match. They played way better than we actually did, but we had more knowledge about the map, so we won because of that.
I think it would be fair to replay the second half of the game because it wasn't fair against LDLC. It was a dirty trick, in my opinion.
Yeah.
But then again, there's no real clear rules against it, so you can't really blame Fnatic for doing it.
It was so interesting to see such an important match be then subject to a pause and no one knew what was going on. And it was really interesting back then because it was so unprecedented, and we had all the, everyone kind of getting in each other's faces. People were definitely really emotional about that situation. Should it be allowed? Should they continue?
As the debate raged over whether or not the boost was cheating, DreamHack officials and the teams themselves examined the facts. Ultimately, the call came down that the physical boost itself hadn't broken any rules against pixel walking, since those rules were not part of a then current rulebook.
The rules that has been pasted on a lot of social medias is actually DreamHack Summer 2013 rules. So those rules has not been the rules in the tournament. The tournament rules has been delivered to all the teams in advance of the tournament, and in that rule there is no pixel boosting is okay.
But Olaf's position itself was not visible from some angles due to a texture transparency bug, and that was prohibited. Unfortunately for LDLC, they too had abused a similar texture bug earlier in the series when Smith's had been boosted in a different spot.
They found that both Smith's and Olaf Meister's boost took advantage or were subject to this one texture bug that could be applied to both of them. And so they'd found their way to just say, both of you are at fault actually, and so we'll replay.
But Fnatic forfeit. Their strategy had won them the map, but lost them much of the audience that watched it.
Fnatic has forfeited the match between against LDLC.
Okay.
So this is final and LDLC is through. They're gonna face off against Navi at 4:30.
No matter what we do in the game, like in the replayed game, we will end up as losers. We felt like, so we took the decision that the best thing is that they move on. Our boost was more brutal than there was, so they can move on to play the tournament, I guess.
They were down so far and it looked like they had no chance, and then they start pulling this out. They thought, okay, this is the time to use something we've been working on, and it just made them one of the most hated teams. And I think that was what was crazy, is that the backlash, the way people reacted to it.
Thankfully, Fnatic pressed on, solidifying their legacy as one of the game's best ever teams, and LDLC won the tournament, bringing France its first ever CSGO major.
This one is an unforgettable moment, and I hope we'll never see anything like it going into CS2. Hopefully these bugs won't ever cause such a nuisance and be such chaos created in the game again.
The fast pushes from Titan have been called and found out, but there's kennyS with 2, and a 3rd as well, and a 4th!
True talent can withstand any nerf.
And it's almost like he's looking directly across at Friberg and saying, whatever you can do, I can do better. 4 rounds now at Titan, and my mind's just been blown, Wanders.
In the days before the 2015 op nerf, one man defined the gun like no other, kennyS Shrub, whose signature style brought the op to places it had never been.
PNX not going to give it up without a fight, and it's going to come down to kennyS with the AWP. 1v3, we can see where he's looking now, just gets the shot barely on MSL, finds the second one, kennyS, point blank with the no-scope! kennyS sucks it down, and Titan, they managed to get another round.
Kenny had a special talent for the weapon, and his resulting high movement style couldn't help but inspire a generation.
kennyS is the reason that a lot of people got excited about CSGO back in like 2014. Right? Like I had friends who played other esports, didn't know anything about Counter-Strike, who started watching CSGO because of Kenny. And it was because of his style, right? This like no holds barred, pyrotechnics, theatrics, exciting style of Counter-Strike that just captivated audiences.
For me, CS is a show, and I felt untouchable for way too long, that's for sure. I didn't like the fact that I had to fall back after killing someone. I don't like the fact, I just want to smash people.
kennyS is an interesting one because he was an AWPer that essentially was able to leverage the movement of the AWP in a way that no one else was able to do. And when you have the most elite players in the game who have amazing innate talent, they're able to limit test in a way that breaks all of the rules. And I think that's what made kennyS so famous to begin with, was that he was able to do that.
Kenny wielded the op like a wizard, rapidly zipping around the map and popping heads across the server. And so it seemed like Valve eventually made a decision. The op couldn't be this good. kennyS couldn't be this good. Specifically, they lowered the scoped movement for the weapon, forcing players to adjust to the new speed, or to peek unscoped first. In reality, this was the first of many changes to the op. Years later, the weapon would even have its magazine capacity reduced by half, but this initial nerf set the tone for what the weapon would become. But for kennyS, this was his new reality. Valve kneecapped his highly mobile style.
There was a lot of things that I was doing that I could not do anymore. So I had to find new stuff. I had to play a bit different.
It was kind of like a direct nerf to kennyS. You've got this star talent that sort of had his ceiling kind of artificially reduced by a patch.
But the greats don't let one small setback define them. kennyS adapted to the nerf, finding new ways to excel with the op.
When it comes to the mechanics of the game, I understand them really quickly. So yes, I had time to adapt. I was picking and shooting at walls at the beginning because it was a bit too slow for me. But, after a few weeks, I was fine,
And up against NIP at CEVO Season 7, kennyS popped off, despite the nerfed op.
Now, the fast pushes from Titan have been called and found out, but there's kennyS with 2, and a 3rd as well, and a 4th! Unbelievable play from Kenny when he gets the ace!
This looks like a 2014 Kenny play, but it was post-nerf, right? Like, this is a Kenny play that shouldn't have been possible. And in that way, I think it's sort of a statement piece, right? It's sort of this, like, testament to the fact that you can nerf the op, but you can't nerf Kenny. You can't nerf God-given talent.
That was amazing. I haven't seen an ace that nice in quite a long time. That was fantastic from Kenny S, who was able to just hit with perfect accuracy those no-scopes. It was quite incredible. I don't know what else to say.
Kenny came back pretty quickly and adapted, and he was a critical part of the second French major winning roster at Cluj-Napoca later that year.
People think I got less good than before because I was maybe like choosing more my surrounding, you know. I had great players with me as well. I didn't have to just like run short and do an ace with a quickscope, just becoming more like a team player.
Kenny S obviously still an amazing player that managed to have an amazing career, but that is a really important moment, I think, where things changed for him and he had to learn how to adapt. So for again, the fans of professional, French Counter-Strike, I think it's a pretty key moment in CS history as well.
They're ready to shoot some ducks as they cross the middle. It's going to be a challenge, and Apex, not in this lifetime.
It's not uncommon for a single moment to make or break a match, but it's not that often that a match makes or breaks a moment. 2015 was the year of Fnatic. 2 back-to-back majors, 3 total, and just a slew of badass antagonistic BM that was designed to rub their talent in their opponents' faces.
Still JW with that AWP though. He's going on short though. He's been boosted up, going for the aggressive pick, and actually goes all the way towards Suicide and gets a huge headshot on the Garrigan there.
They were CSGO's first great dynasty, and they wanted everyone to know it.
Snax does pick that one up, and JW finds his second, surely not a third, as he's desperately going to be picking it up. I worry about matchmaking now. We're going to be seeing a whole lot more sort of.
It wasn't just that Fnatic kept winning, it was how they kept winning. From the handshake stuff, to the Olaf boost, to these like crazy, stupid plays they always somehow managed to make work. They were basically like the bad boys of CSGO. People hated them so much. And when they won that semi-final in Cologne, that's when it really felt like things were coming to a head.
So Olaf, that was stressful, it was emotional to watch. What was it like to play? Come on, there's only great games here. We don't have booing in esports, no booing in esports.
Winning Cologne was everything for Fnatic. Not only would it solidify their era, but it would make them the first roster in CSGO history to win 2 majors consecutively. But in typical Fnatic fashion, they got off to a really awful start.
If he can get the AWP out of his hands and maybe try and rescue something, that would be great for them, but Happy's not falling for it. Krim's the sole man left. Just trying to prevent Envious getting anything more from this round, but MBK will close it out. This is 10-3. This is starting to become a very one-sided first half.
By the time it reached 15-10, Fnatic found themselves against the ropes with nothing but a force buy and a dream.
Fnatic always had this ability to just make stupendous comebacks. Like they'd always get off to the roughest start, go down a bunch of rounds, let things go right down to the wire, and then, oh look, in the nick of time, turn it around. That was their secret. That's the thing that made them both so infuriating to play against, but also just terrifying.
Can he get it? He should get it. Just 9 left in the magazine here for Kiyoshima. That bomb taking away, and this might not be enough. Krims, I think he's stalled for enough time. Keo gonna go down. A triple kill here for the Swedish player, and a little bit more for Fnatic. Very important with these Molotovs if you're gonna execute on the A-bomb side to flush out anyone who's there. But look at Kenny pushing through. He goes down to Olaf. How does that work? He gets that shot.
Apex is left alone over on B site now, but they're not smoking because Flusha doesn't want to choose to throw it down. He's all the way over in tunnels, but it doesn't matter when they're landing shots like this. Apex is trying to stop them, but it's not going to happen. It will be overtime in the first map of the Grand Finals.
Fnatic had done the unthinkable. They'd forced overtime and crushed Envious' spirits. Worse yet, once they were in overtime, Fnatic kept winning. All they needed was a killer blow.
The way that overtime works in Counter-Strike is that you're given this huge surplus of cash at the start of each half. So Fnatic have now won 2 of the first 3 overtime rounds, which means they are just swimming in money, like way more than they'll ever need for a full buy. So they have this idea. They're like, what if we just bought 4 ops for the sole purpose of just eviscerating the guy mid-doors?
And look at the guns for AWPs. Fnatic, they're ready to shoot some ducks as they cross the middle. It's going to be a challenge, and Apex, not in this lifetime. He is destroyed.
Silly as it was, that play crushed any semblance of hope Envious had left. Off the back of that pick, Fnatic took B-site, secured the round, and closed things out on the CT half. By the time Map 2 rolled around, Envious were too deflated to stop Fnatic from making history.
I don't think there's any chance. Flusha looking to end this. It's going to be a third title for Fnatic. They win a third major championship in Global Offensive.
I mean, it was basically a face-it play. Like the kind of thing you would do in a pug just to shove your lead down your opponent's throats. It was the most Fnatic way to win a major. Of course it was stupid. That's what made it so great.
Debris is like sweating bullets. Happy's gonna get the quad kill in the ace. What is this?
Not every play has to push the boundaries of the game. Sometimes an unlikely moment can take your breath away even as it reminds you of Counter-Strike's basic recipe for victory. Click heads, win rounds.
I think I just broke my chair. I might need a new one.
Yep.
I think I actually did just break my chair. Hold on, let me get a new one.
A worthy sacrifice, a chair for a round that's going to go down in history without a doubt here. This is a ridiculous performance.
The Desert Eagle is one of Counter-Strike's most enduring, iconic weapons, whose $800 price tag means it's always an option, as long as you're hitting your shots. In late 2015, that combination of power and price was exactly what Team Envy needed in the grand finals of DreamHack Open London. Their opponent, the Danish upstart Team Solo Mid, was behind a single round and had a slight economic advantage with a chance to extend it. Envy was strapped for cash.
The TSM, they would kind of follow along with the strategy that they've been using for quite some time now, which is skimp and save for the big buy round. Of course, dupreeh with a huge performance in this round, quad kill for him. But yeah, TSM outthinking Envy this time around.
So at this point, Envy are fairly strapped for cash. But they had this reputation back then of actually buying pistol armor on a save instead of a full eco. And a lot of the time, it worked out. They just had these crazy talented players who were capable of hitting some pretty crazy shots.
This is what Envy is famous for. LDCZ, they're here.
So now at DreamHack Open London, they're at this point where if they don't win the next round, it's pretty easy to see the game slipping away. So they go back to old reliable.
As TSM cautiously probed Banana with the bomb, Happy laid in wait.
The TSM, they're scared about this. They aren't rushing this time around. They're taking their sweet time, hoping to catch somebody peek on Envy's side. And well, that's what happens when you go around the corner. Happy with Hwangdig. Oh, and another one! Oh, and a third! Happy! He could get another one here too, dupreeh. dupreeh is like sweating bullets. Happy's gonna get the quad kill in the ace! What is this?
This play perfectly encapsulated Envy's tendency to force up under pressure, and it did so in a DreamHack Grand Final that they won flawlessly, without dropping a map. In 2019, the community voted Happy's Deagle Ace the Counter-Strike play of the decade. Clearly, it made an impact on all of us that was hard to deny. If you've ever played this game, you know exactly what it feels like to hit the one Deagle. But watching someone gun down an entire Tier 1 team with the Deagle in mere seconds remains something truly special.
Amazing, amazing performance. I think we all know what I want an explanation of straight away. Dude, what happened with that Deagle? Just Deagle, man.
There's Cold. Oh, what? A jumping double from Cold! What is going on right now? How does he do this?
In the semifinals of MLG Columbus 2016, the first North American major, Team Liquid were miraculously far ahead of Luminosity.
What is unfolding here in front of our eyes? Who would have predicted any of this?
The thing is, because of the way the CTs, well, Luminosity are playing right now, if they are shut out of this map and we go to map 2, you have to wonder what their mental frame of mind will be after getting such a beatdown.
Liquid only needed one more round to take map 1, and things were looking dire for Luminosity.
They are going to need to do something big here, but again, they don't seem to really be changing their strategy.
Okay, so let's take a second to really set this up. Taco's pushed up into ladder, which means that Cold is just completely alone. Now Liquid are playing contact, which means that they're going in quiet. So this first shot on a Dren, that's sort of a freebie. But what happens after that is the greatest 6 seconds in CSGO history.
Here he comes once again. The first base is a Dren. He's gonna hit the ground there as Cold. Oh, what? A jumping double from Cold! What is going on right now? How does he do this? Cold has saved Luminosity with the all play. Unthinkable scenes there on the B apartments.
The fact that Liquid had this decisive lead on Mirage, and it looks like there wasn't really a way back. And then on top of that, you've got coldzera in a position with the AWP where it doesn't really seem realistic that he can survive, let alone get maybe one kill out of it. And then for him to be able to, obviously, when they're on the precipice, they're about to lose the match, this is the round that could end all of it, he's able to just pull off a jumping no-scope and then no-scope somebody else who's pushing him towards the van. So it's so wild that a moment like that happens, and then of course it sparks a comeback, because how could it not?
Whether it shattered their spirits or not, that play stopped Liquid dead in their tracks. Luminosity took 5 rounds in a row, then swept Liquid in overtime.
But that's it, Luminosity with a comeback from 15-10. An amazing play from Cold with the AWP.
Map 2 might not have had an iconic play, but it was the same story. Liquid went up 15-6 before losing 9 rounds in a row, and eventually the series itself.
Adren needs a 1 versus 4 retake with an AWP. And there it is, Cold is going to take his head off, and Luminosity will find themselves in the grand finals against Na'Vi.
I mean, it's one of the most memorable Counter-Strike matches of all time, I think. And I think so many people talk to me about that game years and years on. It's one of the most important matches. I don't really know any other way to kind of put it like that. And then this was what I think really started to make the careers of these Brazilian players.
Luminosity went on to win the major, and there's no question that it wouldn't have been possible without coldzera's 1 in a million pyrotechnics.
People can complain all they want about how it was luck or RNG or whatever. And it was, but that's precisely the point. It was wizardry. This is the greatest major moment of all time. And if you don't think so, you're just wrong. coldzera is a 2-time major winner, 2-time HLTV #1, holds numerous records that to this day have not been broken, and all of that still pales in comparison to this play. The jumping off is what he'll be remembered for.
Simple just jumping casually into the side. He's going to fall down again. What is this platform? Simple, are you serious? What is that? You can't do that, Simple.
It's not every day you get to see someone ascend. True divinity is earned. Respect, admiration, glory. It comes from proving that your abilities transcend human understanding. And at ESL One Cologne 2016, in the Cathedral of Counter-Strike, the CSGO faithful witnessed the birth of a god.
But Simple, I don't know, man. If he just comes in with that, there's nothing
that can be done. It was a no-scope. He didn't even... We had one button on his mouse stand. He had one button. There was no zoom.
Okay, so like over here, right, you've got every 1vx in the history of Counter-Strike. All of them. The craziest clutches of all time. But up here, in the rarefied atmosphere that is B Heaven on Cash, you've got the falling off.
Team Liquid were vying for a spot in a major final, something no North American roster had ever done before. But they weren't relying on an American to get them there. No, they had Simple, a Ukrainian prodigy who had already helped them make the semifinals at the previous major despite a heartbreaking loss.
When Simple joined Liquid, there was this expectation that he was going to like elevate the roster magnificently, like really bring them to the next level. This guy was touted to maybe be the best CSGO player on the planet, but he had yet to really show it, you know? Like he needed a play, a highlight that just proved he was, beyond a shadow of a doubt, out of this world.
This time, Liquid were determined to go all the way, but to do that, they'd need to put down a very resilient Fnatic. After taking Cobble, Liquid entered Cash with a chip on their shoulder. This was the semi that they needed to clinch, so after getting off to a bit of a rough start, they started racking up rounds.
We'll have to see whether or not he's going to be good here, because the push is about to hit, and Nitro's position very, very key. We've got multiple players coming in. Nitro with the first spray down. Second crack comes in from Simple. An easy 1-2-3 from the defensive line of Team Liquid. There is still a chance in this round for Fnatic, and flusha wants to absolutely cripple Liquid, takes the risk, but he's going to leave Crims in a 1 versus 3 after plant.
Finally, Fnatic get a bomb plant in round 10, and now he needs to hold Crims, but there are too many numbers to do it.
Crims is trying to go, but he is just playing at the moment with JDM, and JDM connects the shot on the side of the smoke, but there's a player straight above him. He realizes now, when will the frag come in right now? JDM can't see him. Almost is just sitting there, and finally, Nitro lands the shot, and there is nothing left for Fnatic.
Fnatic had one last swing. 9-4, Fnatic were looking to save their half and fight back on CT. And for a moment, it looked like they might.
Crims and Dennis still stand, and they cannot be counted out at the moment as they are holding on to some pretty dangerous weaponry. They don't have utility to aid them in their eventual push, but what they do have going for them right now is time and the fact that Liquid are down to 3 players, meaning that they're very spread out at the moment, and Fnatic should be able to get engagements. What is that? Long-range shot connected by Crims. JW is history, and maybe there's a chance now for Fnatic in this round.
2 players now for Fnatic, just holding up again. They're waiting for the peaks, but this time Liquid do need information, and Hiko is starting to search for it, and Dennis is holding the angle. Who's going to be the recipient? It is going to be Hiko. That's a big frag, but Simple is creeping. They see him with the AWP now.
As soon as Hiko dies, this round is over. Like, you've gone from a 3v2 with 2 rifles to a 1v2 with an AWP. Simple knows that in a real retake with tree smoked, crossfire on heaven, he's screwed. Like, it's very unlikely that he wins. He knows his only chance is to book it upper so he can maybe isolate a 1v1 before he's in a post plant. But they don't give him a 1v1 because Dennis makes it to hell before Simple can get there. So Simple drops.
The desperate play into B comes in. Smokes. You see double smokes in the same place there. Simple just jumping casually into the side. He's going to fall down again. What is this clutch from Simple? Are you serious? What is that? You can't do that, Simple. That's not allowed. This is not FPL. This is a major.
Yeah, that was a very odd moment because as casters, we're looking at the program out. We're looking at what the viewers see essentially in these particular instances. So James is having to react to that POV. He's not seeing Simple, and I'm at the same time trying to hold everything in because I have this other monitor where I'm looking at Simple's perspective and seeing the ridiculousness of what just happened. And so for James to sort of like drive home the moment with how he casted it was pretty epic in that sense.
James Simple is an assassin. This guy is absolutely unbelievable. He's the X Factor for Team Liquid. There is no question.
Off the back of Simple's stupendous play, Liquid took that series and became the first North American team ever to play in a major final. But more importantly, that was the day Simple became, well, Simple, a divinity, the god of our game. He's produced countless highlights since, but never one that was more indispensable, iconic, or inherently him.
You know, to see Simple, perform magical moments like that, I think it's another thing that's kind of special about Counter-Strike is that you can have moments that completely defy what anyone could possibly expect. Much like with Cold, much like with KennyS, much like with Simple, he creates something special that you can never forget.
Right now, you are partway through the most epic video the Score Esports has ever made, and it would not have been possible without Mountain and their top-shelf gaming peripherals. Mountain keyboards are fully customizable, buttery smooth, and ergonomically configured to keep you gaming comfortably for hours. Plus, with their array of RGB features, they just look awesome. So do yourself a favor and go to the Newegg link in the description to check out Mountain's Everest Max gaming keyboard. Now let's get back to the video.
Oh, Guardian, bye-bye! And it's on to Flamey. He's tapped it. Flamey's got a big... What in God's name is that from Snax?
ESL One New York 2016, a heated final between the old guard and the new. Na'Vi had just added Simple to their lineup and were determined to make an explosive debut. The aging Virtus.Plow were doing everything they could to stop that from happening, to prove they were still a force to be reckoned with.
With only 20 HP, Neo's got a hit. A money shot, and he's getting closer to it. Careful how you bait Neo! Unbelievable as Edward tries to bait it out, he can't do so.
He just had to wait for the time to run out. He had to commit it after he walked out. He knows Neo's got the AWP and he can't find the retort. My God, Na'Vi can't get going in this first half.
Snax with the same weaponry, but a close position from Edward is going to force him, funnel him out, but he finds the shot. A lovely shot at that, a Guardian! And oh my God, Snax, have you ever just stolen it from Na'Vi?
At some point, VP became so confident that they were literally just like sprinting into full buys. And a huge reason for that was Snax. Snax was having the game of his life. He was entrying, AWPing, all of it. Whatever his team needed him to do to keep them in the fight.
VP, they're fast, of course, they're coming in. The flashes go over and Snax leading the charge looking for that first frag.
Oh, they knew exactly where he was before he could be positioned. It's going to take the EWP down. Snax hits a second. The bullet was stopped by the AWP on the ground and nearly cost the kill, but it's going to be pulled back. And how fast has Virtus Pro walked into the B site?
Virtus Pro bulldozed their way through the half. Na'Vi was in shambles. Any hope of a comeback, however faint, rested entirely on the first round of the second half.
If they win the pistol, Matthew, maybe this could be something to be said, but so far I'm not really believing. They need this pistol and they need a clean 3-0 after that. If they do lose the pistol, I hate to say it is going to be game over.
And astonishingly, Na'Vi picked themselves up and came for Virtus Pro's throats.
And maybe there's a straight-up B-rush, all 5 players committing to the upper platform here. Let's go.
Pasha immediately taken down. Guardian's got the start required for Na'Vi, but Bialy pops out late. Second headshot potentially there. Oh, Guardian does damage. But he comes out worse for wear in the end. Neo gone. Guardian wraps back around. Then it's going to be Bialy down in the end to just Snacks. Does find one.
Oh, no.
Let's not leave him out of this. The Big Apple, and Snacks is hungry. He's got 1 kill already on the USP. Low HP as well on Guardian and Flamey. He's trying to bait them out, trying to get them into one-on-ones as he dances back and forth between the box. What a shot on Simple! Oh, Guardian, bye-bye! And it's on to Flamey. He's tapped it. Flamey's got a big... What in God's name is that from Snacks? Unbelievable!
That pistol rush from Na'Vi was spectacular. It was a perfectly timed and executed rush. They did everything right. They just didn't account for Snacks.
Having shattered Na'Vi's spirits, Virtus Pro closed out the map before narrowly losing the series. But in many ways, that clutch carried more weight than the trophy lift ever would.
I dare you to find me a moment, any moment in CSGO esports that has a better combination of gameplay, tournament stakes, crowd, and of course, casting. If I had 1 minute to get somebody excited about Counter-Strike esports, I would show them Snacks, 100%. It's just perfect.
He is leading by example in the game and out of the game, but a tactical pause has come and gone.
At the Krakow Major in 2017, Gambit made plenty of plays that proved they were one of the smartest lineups of all time. But one moment in particular during the semifinals against Astralis proved their brilliance. IGL Zeus showed the world what an eco round could really do for a team.
An eco round from Gambit. They look towards the bye in the next round. They'll only have 2,400 loss bonus at this point, and their lead is thinning evermore. Astralis very comfortable.
Zeus was a 4-time major winner with Na'Vi in 1.6. The thing is, he just can't lead them to a major and go. So Na'Vi kick him in an effort to sort of modernize their roster, and down on his luck, he ends up on this fledgling roster of CIS up-and-comers called Gambit. Now, they have this crazy deep run at the Krakow Major in 2017, but then they get to the semis, and they're now up against Astralis. And Astralis are heavily favored.
I think the majority of us would feel this is probably a stretch to imagine they can get past them. But if they are going to get past them, how is it going to be done?
I think it absolutely is a stretch. But as I said previously, I think Gambit has the ingredients necessary to take down Astralis in theory.
The match seemed unwinnable, and yet Gambit fought hard. They took the first map, lost the second, and amassed quite the lead on the third.
Astralis expected in the final, currently half the score of Gambit, who are very close to the finish line, but it's not quite time to put a foot there yet.
But that was when things started to come apart.
Dosia being teased with the sniper rifles. Zeus is in the same position, playing a double peek here, but he's not quite getting the kill yet. Zeus with a perfect spray, and now it's Dosia. He's got to find this, he's got to make the hero play. He's going to bounce the grenade off, it's not going to do enough damage. The Deagle's there as well, but there's no peek. 3 seconds, he's got a peek. Device, he's got the angle, he will be successful. Astralis down, but not out.
Slowly but surely, Astralis climbed back into the map, racking up round after round until finally, it looked like Gambit was on their way out.
With this shot, can't really do that in this situation. It's going to be all he can do to survive now. As a good defensive shot now as they pursue him. Hot on his heels. Great shot there from Mo, but it's all in the end. They do concede the round to the Danes. Astralis now grinding each round.
Zeus saw that his team was just shutting down. And instead of running some like crazy Hail Mary set play that just might work but probably won't, he just stood in T-spawn and yelled at them.
There isn't really a coordinated attempt. I think Zeus is just using this round to talk to his team. He's standing in T-spawn at the moment, reminiscent of existence teams. Can have a much longer tactical timeout in this fashion. Get a team on the correct page.
To be clear, this wasn't unprecedented. This so-called French timeout had a long history in Counter-Strike. But to do it in a major semi-final against what should have been an unbeatable roster, it was ballsy.
And Zeus is still taking a timeout. Still more to talk about And you can see he needs it. We've got heads on fifth stand. People have got to get their heads in the game.
Слышишь, что ты сказал на трейне, когда ты вот с P250 на террском респе уже стоял, типа бегал, ничего не
Я
делал?
чуть заорал, блядь, на команду и сказал, блядь, сука, все угомонитесь нахуй, блядь, успокойтесь и слушайте меня, блядь. Мы сейчас их выебем, просто, блядь, надо делать то, что я говорю, блядь.
He is leading by example in the game and out of the game. But a tactical pause has come and gone.
5 AKs again for Gambit. Make them much quicker, much more dynamic, much better trading and playing off each other as they march into the A site to go for the taken. Dupree absolutely blinded there. That is a great start here for Gambit. Device now with everything to do with that AWP.
The entire T team is here. They have half of the bomb site. There are smokes done everywhere. There's no flank for these CTs. The bomb's getting planted.
That's Device now with nothing left to do but just save this AWP. Eke out an extra frag if he possibly can, but that won't be the case. Whatever Zeus said to his team, it must have been pretty good, James, because that was a phenomenal round from them.
That timeout changed everything for Gambit. And on the back of Zeus's leadership, they carried that momentum forward.
But Zeus, with the headshot, he's carrying the bomb as well. Got to be careful. And a friend charging in as well.
It's happening again. We saw it in the last round. Gambit looks somehow unstoppable, possessed by something absolutely out of this world at the moment, this aggression.
Zeus showing his worth as a teammate, as a captain, as a fearless, experienced leader. Still talking to his team, leading by example, Zeus.
Sitting there in connector, a dangerous position. Device knows to look out for it, misses the flick shot, and Gambit have done the unthinkable. They will be in the major finals.
The rest, of course, is history. Gambit moved on to narrowly defeat Immortals in the finals as Zeus secured the one and only major of his CSGO career.
No one peeking, so he'll take every inch he can get to make this an instant kill on the shotgun. Crossfire set, he's found! Steel trades it, Steel goes for more, it's done!
You couldn't invent a crazier Cinderella story. And like, for as much as everybody celebrates the Doja nade, this timeout was really the moment that Gambit won the major. No disrespect to Immortals, but overcoming Astralis with their backs against the wall, that was their ultimate achievement.
Olaf Meister, I love you. And second, God help me, and I won major. Woo!
There's 7 seconds of got the bomb. They're trying to build pyramids, but it's no more play. Stewie's won the round. We go to overtime.
North America isn't exactly known as a Counter-Strike powerhouse, but there is one CSGO tournament final that NA can be truly proud of.
How have they done that? They came back all the way.
Boston was a face-off between European super team FaZe Clan and North American hopefuls Cloud9.
So over the course of the event, like, these two teams were just polar opposites, right? Like, FaZe are undefeated in groups. They are this like absolute all-star super team who look primed to win this major. Like, this is just free for them. Cloud9, on the other hand, start 0-2, and only like towards the end of groups do they start to actually turn it around. But going up into FaZe Clan, it was almost an impossibility. Like, FaZe by far were the favorites.
The grand finals were held in front of a North American crowd who likely expected to see their team fall to the European giants. But against all hope, they still cheered for Cloud9, and the players fed off that energy.
So Mirage goes the way of FaZe, which, let's be honest, everyone expected. We get to Overpass, and there's actually a real back and forth there. Like, C9 are showing signs of life. They take Overpass and bring us to Inferno. It's a major final, the ultimate decider on the ultimate decider map, and we think maybe there's actually a chance. Maybe we could witness a Cinderella story. And then the map starts to unfold, and it sort of becomes apparent towards the end that C9 just have no answer for this. FaZe are just pummeling them. We get to that now infamous 15-11 scoreline, and it looks really over. C9 are out of money, they're out of chances, they're just up against the wall, and somehow they just managed to do the craziest shit. These weird force buys with these insane 1v2s and 2v2s every round by the skin of their teeth until finally we are at 15-14, there's seconds left on the clock. FaZe, out of time, get to the B site where Stewie is waiting, and we witness what has to be one of the most enduring clutches in the history of CSGO.
Stewie's on his own, but look at the time! Look at the time, there's 7 seconds of got the bomb! They're trying to build pyramids, but it's no more play! Stewie's won the round! We go to overtime!
Cloud9 have done it! How have they done that? They came back all the way!
It's ridiculous that they're in that position in the first place. No one expected that from this roster. And Stewie2K, along with the rest of his teammates, I think, were almost overperforming as a team, as a unit.
Stewie2K's clutch play turned the tide of the game, forcing an overtime that created the momentum C9 needed to win it all in overtime 2 and do their region proud.
Guardian waits patiently as Cloud9 sets the push up. Oh, it's happened! They made it work! Cloud9 are your E-League Major champions!
It just didn't seem real, because if you looked at really any of the predictions, no one could ever have expected to see them in that arena. And to have it be the case that they're able to do this on the deciding map of the grand finals in an arena surrounded by screaming American fans, it's just such a beautiful moment.
NA might not have won any major since, but that arguably makes their sole triumph all the more special.
There's a lot of things going into this moment where Stewie just broke their back and really compounded all of the tiny mistakes that they made. So incredible moment from, I think, someone that is probably considered one of the absolute greats in terms of North American CS.
Oh my God! Chris, the Wolf of Wall Street gets an ace, and it's championship point Mousesports!
The AWP isn't just a rifle. It's the crown jewel of Counter-Strike. It can silence a crowd or it can make it roar. But the beautiful thing about the AWP is that anyone can answer its call. And when they do, there's nothing like it. At ESL One New York 2018, home favorites Team Liquid were struggling to close out a best-of-5 bloodbath against the last roster that anyone would have expected, Mousesports.
And Mousesports are up and about now, man. After losing yet another pistol, they've managed to be convincing in almost all the gun rounds so far.
And remember, we were in New York. There's maybe a small area of fans cheering and shouting for MOUZ, but most of them are crying for Liquid as they're watching this slip away.
MOUZ were the definition of a journeyman roster, a squad made up of prodigies, veterans, and outcasts who'd come together to achieve something great. And against every odd, they were about to. Liquid were on the ropes and needed to bounce back, and for a moment, it looked like they might.
Robs, you're right, is perfectly positioned now. He can swing out. With the nades down, great find from Elige. That saves them time to plant the bomb. Now we've got a round. Trades even so far. Smoke on the bomb. That'll extinguish any Molotovs thrown in the direction, but they don't have any. And it's Chris J. On his own! He's got two! He nearly finds it, but Nap holds true, and Liquid hold on.
Having staved off defeat, Liquid put themselves into a prime position to make a real comeback, and despite their sizable lead, MOUZ's bank was almost broken.
Money, actually not as strong as you'd think for Mousesports. They will have a bye, but this is such an integral moment of the game itself. If Liquid can get this, they might have a chance to build us some momentum here.
This is Liquid's chance, 100%. MOUZ are back on the double op, which means they've bought out completely. Like, they are dirt poor if they lose this. And Liquid start off this round on the best foot possible. Somehow Taco and Elige are able to just, like, walk out of Palace in the first 20 seconds of the round. This is the worst case scenario for MOUZ, because the downside of double opping is if and when you need to play retake. This round is pretty much over. Liquid have site control. What they don't have are smokes to keep it. So with the map, the series, the championship on the line, Chris J just walks out of CT and goes ballistic.
Wants to try and hold off the rotations. Oscar's gone. Chris isn't. Op still in the picture. Op still very much in the round. Oh, Chris! He's found three. It's down to a 2-on-2. Chris, can he close this with an ace? Oh my God! Chris, the Wolf of Wall Street gets an ace, and it's championship point Mousesports.
Chris J's thunderous op clutch broke Liquid's money and mental, and put MOUZ within a single round of hoisting the trophy.
That's got to be one of the sickest plays of the tournament, maybe even of the year. Chris J shuts everything down. Look at this. This is Counter-Strike perfection right now. That round was going in favor of Team Liquid, no problem at all. They were considering the save, and Chris J might have just found the championship for Mousesports here. There might be a twist. Oh my God! Chris J keeps hitting the shots of the AWP. 2-on-2 now.
You said it, there might be a twist though. He's got a gun, and he's been so sharp. Chris again?
This is
Chris
sick.
again, it's all to twist. He knows it. The young rookie, so much skill. He knows where the bomb is. He knows there's a smoke on it. He's got it. No, he doesn't. He doesn't. Sonny's got away with it. Mousesports win it. The Battle of Brooklyn.
MOUZ won it all, but even victory couldn't compare to that history-making clutch.
The thing about opping is that it's slow and suspenseful, right? You've got these great big buildups of pressure followed by fast, quick releases. It's like this give and take of momentum. Chris J just ignored all of that. He wiped Team Liquid in 8 seconds. But there is a real case to be made that those 8 seconds encompass the greatest AWP play of all time. Like, yeah, the falling off, the jumping off, these plays are otherworldly. But this play was just, it's what AWPing's all about.
To be able to lift this trophy, to be able to pull off a moment like that as well while doing it, as a player of his caliber, it's going to mean so much, and one that not only sits with us, but it sits with him himself.
And get on that bomb very quickly, and now it's all falling apart. Oh, no! Oh, my Lord! That can't possibly be real!
In 2019, 3-time major winners Astralis were well on their way to being the greatest team in CSGO history.
Astralis, they join an elite club, back-to-back majors, 3 in the cabinet. They don't lose a single map on the Spodek stage. Untouchable, undisputed. Astralis, your kings of Counter-Strike.
If Astralis were able to win the StarLadder Berlin major, they'd have the most majors ever, and they'd be the only team to have won 3 in a row.
The Astralis era was unlike anything else in the history of CSGO. Never before or since was there a roster that was just so categorically ahead of the competition, but also that people found very boring. Very dull. There was this idea that Astralis are these stoic Danes who throw perfect utility, and just absolutely nobody could stand up to them. Every single time that Astralis entered a server, it was all but guaranteed they were going to win.
The Danes had no trouble making their way through the new Legend stage, losing only 1 matchup against NRG.
It's a 1-on-4 here. NRG with a fantastic best-of-3 against Astralis. They're going to take them down on the second map. New 16-14, and NRG are going to be in the playoffs here at the StarLadder Berlin major.
But once Astralis got to the new champion stage, nothing was going to stand in their way.
They don't have a kit right now. I don't see how they can get this defused. There's Device, and there's Astralis 16-13. They take down Team Liquid, and they're going to be in the semifinals.
And if anyone thought NRG had a chance against Astralis in the semifinals based on what happened in New Legends, they were about to be proven incredibly wrong.
And that's a 2-on-4. Finally, Device put into play up from that high ground. Going to be taking down Ethan, sure, but the bomb is still planted, and currently no kit has been picked up. They need to find a way to get these kills and get on that bomb very quickly, and now it's all falling apart. Oh, no! Oh, my Lord! That can't possibly be real!
Device's insane 1v3 USP clutch was so legendary, it came to be known as 3-3-3, as in 3 HP, 3 bullets, 3 kills.
And now it's all falling apart. Oh, no!
Look, there's obviously no shortage of incredible plays in the history of competitive CS, right? And people even asked for this play, the 3-3-3, to be turned into graffiti and whatnot since it was at a major. But I think the thing that really makes this stand out in my mind is the fact that it actually proved true something that the community feared at the time, which is that Astralis really were an unstoppable force. Device has 3 health, right? He has 3 bullets, and there's 3 guys, basically, who are all in close proximity to him. And somehow, he wins. This is the moment that shattered the mental of every other team in this major. That is what made this team so scary.
Astralis 2-0'd the North Americans as they sped through their flawless run to the top, and eventually made history by winning the whole thing.
2 versus 4, an impossible retake by any standards. Device will take down Buster, leaving a trend in a 1 versus 4. And ladies and gentlemen, they've done it for the 4th time! Astralis win the major in Berlin!
Astralis' dominance was now truly immutable. They'd unseated the former record holders Fnatic, won the most majors ever, and did it in a way that left 0 doubt about who the GOAT team of CSGO was.
ZywOo, no health really, but he's still hitting shots. He's already got 3 and 4 and 5 and oh my god, ZywOo!
Every superstar has their own signature play, something that they're known for beyond the statistics, beyond the silverware, something crazy. And for French phenom ZywOo, that moment came out of nowhere, when we, and he, least expected it.
This round feels near impossible for ZywOo and Apex. Yeah, you got the bomb down, but where's ZywOo's frags? He's got to start posting something, but from where?
The important thing to remember about the series is that this was actually the first time that Simple and ZywOo ever played against each other in a grand final. And remember, the year prior, ZywOo stole Simple's HLTV #1 and was gearing up to do the same this year. The thing is that this time around, it was super close. Like, it genuinely was not clear at all who was going to take the top spot. And every inch, every round mattered.
After getting rocked on Nuke and edged out on Dust 2, Vitality were down 2-0 in what looked to be a done and dusted best of 5. And they weren't just losing to Na'Vi, they were losing to Simple.
Yeah, he's clawed them back in that first half, right? Because it was a 5-0 start from Vitality. Things were looking good, and then it was the Simple show. And with Simple playing this level of Counter-Strike, the man right there on your screen, ZywOo, is going to have to do something about him.
And so he did.
It's fast, it's furious. And Masuta, he's lost his head. RPK trades Electronic and Simple down early is a brilliant start to a pistol round. And then looking to build upon it. Apex actually with some aggression. They want to deny it. Jumping in from the off angle. He adjusts nicely with ZywOo's help. And they finish it before it even gets going.
There's a clear indication in this map that Vitality have had a team talk and they've said, let's take the fight to them.
After stunning Na'Vi on Overpass, Vitality took the fight to Inferno, where they outclassed Na'Vi once again, before engaging in an all-or-nothing decider on Mirage.
Flashes are good, and they're out. Swinging in. That fight favors ZywOo, but Shox has already lost his life. Flamey's first bullet is good, but warded off. Simple's caught Masuta through the smoke. The trade doesn't even occur.
Vitality get bombed down, which is great for economy, but they're in a 2v4, and it's like really unlikely they're going to close out this post plan, especially since Electronic is on the big flank about to smoke ZywOo in the back of the head. But then something happens that no one accounts for. Electronic just whiffs.
And Electronic looking for the cleanest finish. She's been turned on.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, ZywOo has 9 HP, and Apex is about to get smoked in Firebox. It's fine. It's totally, categorically unwinnable, but it's okay. They got bombed down, which means they can buy next. What happens next is impossible.
He's got to start posting something, but from where? What vantage point can he possibly? ZywOo, no health really, but he's still hitting shots. He's already got 3 and 4 and 5 and oh my God, ZywOo! Unbelievable! Practically godlike!
I just really wonder when I see this, like, what the hell do they say in Navi's TeamSpeak after this? When you're on the other side of that, it's sort of like you just start laughing, because you're like, what the hell can you do? You like blink, everyone is dead, and you look at the kill feed, it's like ZywOo, 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 and it's, in some ways, it's sort of less tilting to lose a round like that, because it's sort of like, what the hell could we have done? He will make those sort of rounds sometimes.
On the back of ZywOo's unfathomable clutch, Vitality soared to victory. Na'Vi's spirits were so crushed that they could barely win a round, and ZywOo went nuclear.
RPK. Oh, what a shot from Shox. It's on to Boomich. He's been shut down. Flamey to clutch up. 1v2s. Shox is playing with him. He needs to pick up that bomb. He's managed to do that, but with 19 seconds, he's running straight into ZywOo, and he hits the shot. Vitality have done it.
Not only did Vitality complete the reverse sweep, but ZywOo graced CSGO history with one of the craziest pistol clutches of all time.
There is a good reason for that timeout. I don't think too many players would be in their chairs after that one. That is insane, and that is why ZywOo... Oh my...
Yo, they pop off!
Webcams aren't working anymore. We might
broken the webcam!
Non, bah celui-là, je pense, c'est le Rune Pistol qui restera dans ma mémoire et même dans... Je sais pas si je vais dire dans l'histoire, mais celui-là, ouais, il était assez fou à jouer parce que j'avais 9 HP, je pensais même pas tuer déjà 2 mecs, j'en suis 5. Ouais, c'était fou, même quand je vois les réactions de tout le monde, même ma réaction, je pense que j'ai jamais eu une réaction comme ça parce que je pense que je mettrai jamais ça 2 fois dans ma vie.
He's not flashy.
Yeah, I know.
When I look at him or whatever, I never saw him besides the P250 ace.
Yeah, that was crazy.
Okay, okay.
That was good. Even he popped off for that one. That was crazy. Yeah.
There's no way. KD, you can't win Pro League like this. You can't win Pro League like this. No way!
Sometimes a great play doesn't need a story. Sometimes all it needs to be is truly spectacular.
You heard about the KD in 1v4 with the P250?
I haven't heard of that. How does it go, Chad?
Well, it was a pretty important round. It was for the title.
There aren't really a ton of iconic highlights from the so-called online era of CSGO that really stood the test of time, like plays that we still talk about to this day. But this This is definitely one of them.
At ESL Pro League Season 13's Grand Finals, Heroic had Gambit on the ropes.
Hoping the swing works out, and it has. He knows there's one apps. Time being solved. Stown finds it. It's only Nafany. The 1 HP clutch is too much to ask for, isn't it?
No.
It's too much. It's way too much to ask for. If he finds him now, he's flanking. Got to be quick about it. Stown finds 15. Gambit pulling teeth, though. Good grief.
After a back-and-forth series, Heroic were up 15-6 on the third and final map.
We got a smoke for Stown, we got a deagle for Refresh, a decoy for Cadian with a P250. Hold up a second.
Heroic were on an eco and down 1v4 in the round. Odds were high that Gambit would take this one, and maybe the next, but that Heroic would win eventually.
So Cadian's in a 1v4, and everyone's thinking the exact same thing. Heroic will absolutely lose this round, but who cares? It's 15-6. They're definitely going to take this map one way or another. So just for the memes, Sponge and Machine start getting cutesy with their cast, telegraphing what Cadian may or may not do. Little did they know, they were about to manifest one of the craziest clutches in Counter-Strike.
You heard about the Cadian 1v4 with the P250?
I haven't heard of that. How does it go, Chad?
Well, it was a pretty important round. It was for the title.
He actually won it with just that P250. I can't believe it.
Nobody was looking, and he managed to sneak his way all the way through the backlines here and shoot Shiro in the back of the head.
Right. And what did he do after that? That's nuts. So he actually shoots the AWP in the back of the head without anyone looking.
Gets the AWP and kills the guy CT.
Yeah. Oh my god, he's knifed him, and he's gotten away with the AWP. I'm starting to get nervous. There's no way. Cadian, you can't win Pro League like this. You can't win Pro League like this. No way. Exile's left, 40 seconds and the bomb's on A. Take your time, son. You're about to make the play of your career. He's thinking about round. Jumping.
Saw him.
Exile gets the info. He just has to hit this shot, and he's done it for Heroic. The leader, calling well above his years, clearing corners. Oh, no! You're an animal! Heroic have done it, and I just can't believe it.
A P250, no armor, no chance, and yet somehow, Cadian made history.
I think it took me maybe 5-10 seconds to realize, but the rush from celebrating and being hyped by my teammates, I nearly passed out. You can see in the video that I'm just falling backwards and they're like catching me.
It's just such a clinical clutch, top to bottom. There's this hipster take out there that it's not really that special because Heroic were going to win the map anyway, but I think that's silly. And if this had been on LAN, no one would have the audacity to say that it wasn't spectacular. Machine's casting just, it makes it.
From a pop-off straight into a trophy celebration, Cadian's instantly iconic clutch earned Heroic not just a championship, but admiration at a time when they were still largely looked down on as onliners.
Times it to perfection, and Simple sitting. No! Disaster! An absolute disaster!
Winning a major is the highest, most sought-after honor in Counter-Strike. Not getting the big one has been known to tarnish the legacies of some of the game's greatest players. So, when the grand finals of the PGL Stockholm 2021 major came down to Na'Vi and G2, everyone was wondering which of the two titans of CSGO would finally claim the ultimate trophy. Would it be the unofficial GOAT, a generational talent, and undisputed global offensive whisperer, Simple? Or would it be the rifler extraordinaire, the creme de la creme of European Counter-Strike, and the game's greatest aimer, NiKo? Both had yet to win their first major, despite performing at an absolutely ungodly level for years, and one of them was about to leave the other in the dust. The only question was, who would it be?
It all comes down to this very moment. For over 2 years, we've been racing to crown our next major champion, and by the end of this series, we are guaranteed to have a new Victor lifting this trophy.
The esports world is watching, the world is watching as these 10 players step into the arena in pursuit of eternal glory. Stockholm, one more time!
In the grand final, what was on the line wasn't simply a victory at this one tournament. Rather, it was a shot at immortality, a once-in-a-lifetime test of these two players' mettle against a threat of an unmatched caliber. But CSGO is a game of moments, and NiKo was about to give us one he'd prefer to forget.
Vecto tested, he's safe, and Anthony, nice catch, and averts his gaze at the perfect time. Now it's only, oh my god, Hunter! He kicks open the sight, spots Simple's toes, and oh my god! Electronic Core! Simple baits it! His leg stuck through the smoke, Simple to save them! Drive by onto Nexa, 2 frags away from G2 extending play. Hunter and NiKo, how poetic, and it's Simple and Bit times it to perfection. And Simple sitting down. No! Disaster! An absolute disaster!
That was it!
That was the game! Chat, that was it!
Watching this happen, you thought there's no way. Like, NiKo hits those shots 9 times out of 10, even 9.9 times out of 10, you know, he would never miss that.
Mirage was 1 click away!
Unthinkable. NiKo doesn't miss.
If there's a player that I would want to have a flank from heaven with a deagle, any person on planet Earth, it would have been NiKo. It sort of looks like he's aiming correctly, but it's also the classic problem with flanking. Like, if you get a flank, you stand still, you aim for their head, but there's nothing saying that your opponent just randomly can start moving when you shoot, which is like the worst thing that can happen, and that's completely out of your control.
Honestly, even when I watch this clip back, I still feel like the game cheated him somehow, because it feels like his aim is perfectly on, and for that kill not to happen, it feels wrong in so many ways. It feels wrong for G2 in that moment because it felt like they really deserved that map. It feels wrong for NiKo because when does NiKo's aim fail him like that? And it almost kind of looked like it doesn't in the clip. Everyone, I think, was holding their breath.
No timeouts if that's not going to shatter your morale. You knew what the difference of that kill was.
How do you not be thinking about that into round 29?
Keep it out of your mind here. 2 more chances.
G2's confidence was shattered. After all, if their best aimer couldn't get it done, what hope was there for the rest of the team?
And then what that did was give Na'Vi the confidence to say, okay, this is our major. We're going to win it no matter what.
How much left did G2 have? You know, at this point, what's left in the tank? Is there any gas remaining? 10 seconds, deny the plan. That's the bomb.
It's falling apart!
That's going to be it!
It's only NiKo, there's no time! He just has to watch that clock tick down! This is it! Na'Vi have taken the major!
For G2 to lose the finals, it is truly so difficult not to think of that one moment. What a memory for someone like NiKo to have to hold to be the one that was controlling the mouse in that moment.
NiKo's Nightmare Fuel whiff sent the community reeling. Everything NiKo must have felt in that moment was reflected in the faces of anyone who watched it happen.
And Simple sitting
No!
down!
No!
Oh no!
Imagine the nightmares NiKo are gonna have tonight if they lose now.
I think everyone watching that moment, your stomach just drops and you just can't feel anything but just sadness for NiKo and for G2.
I mean, who knows what would have happened if they won Nuke in that round? Goes to the last map, maybe that would have been, you know, G2's major. Absolutely crazy that he whiffs in one of the most important rounds in his career.
Any player is going to be tilted that they whiff those shots, but that's going to affect your mentality as well, especially when you were finally about to take Na'Vi down on Nuke, and well, we know how it went.
Unfortunately, NiKo never did win a CSGO major. It's entirely possible his trophy is still coming in CS2, but PGL Stockholm will always be the one that got away.
He did look. He sees him, and he slaps him down. Back of the skull. No, looking. Breaks Na'Vi's backs.
CSGO eras are fickle. One day, a team is on top of the world. Then, before you know it, former champions are relegated to obscurity. Na'Vi spent years building up to their time in the sun, and 2021 was unquestionably their time.
10 seconds, deny the plan. That's
Oh
the
no!
bomb. That's
It's
the
falling
bomb.
apart!
That's going to be
It's
it!
only NiKo, there's no time! He just has to watch that clock tick down! This is it! Na'Vi have taken the major!
But despite having the literal GOAT of the game on their team, Na'Vi seemed to have lost steam as soon as 2022 hit, likely because of the situation unfolding in their home countries.
That 1 HP still might be a factor as he nearly swung out. Nice shot for Fecto. He's giving them a chance. NiKo has to reload. Simple's got an AK picked up. Oh! It's the headshot instead.